All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? We're back. It is Wednesday afternoon. ESPN LA's Allen Sliwa, who's a San Diegan, will join us to talk about the Padres, also to talk about the NBA schedule, which will be released tomorrow, and about the Lakers. He'll join us coming up at 3:30. We're with you for the next 3 hours. Great giveaways today. Padres, of course, playing the rubber match against the Orioles. And we'll get you ready for that. And, we're talking before the show, Jim, and we were just talking in the Fusion. It's like all of a sudden you look up, and we've been fooled a million times before by this team. But last night's a good indication of like what's happened here. Miami, a team in front of you, loses. The Reds, a team in front of you, they lose. Cubs lose. And it's a laugher for the Padres. They've had a number of those this year. They very rarely follow that up with another win. But it's like you look up, Jim, and they're 5.5 games out of a playoff spot. They have, quote unquote, all the talent in the world. And here's just a question in general for all of us and for the text line and for our callers. Great. The only thing that's been consistent this season is Jim sneezing.
If you're watching on YouTube right now, congratulations. You
saw it.
You have a high sneezing war.
Yeah, my war for sneezing has got to be like the highest war ever.
You're so consistent.
Very consistent. Today might be a bad day, John.
Great. So here's the question. Okay, as we start with Jim sneezing. Here's the thing. And now I've completely lost my train of thought. Okay, if you were going to give one reason why the Padres can actually do this and get to the postseason, what would be your reason why? So if you could only give one reason why the Padres are capable of doing this and getting to the postseason with 42 games left, like, for example, it's hey, it's the starting pitching. Hey, it's theirs. It's the big four. It's the health of Michael Wacha, like Darren was just talking about a moment ago during the Fusion. So, like, give me a reason why. If we're going to go down that path, because why wouldn't we? There's 42 games left. We haven't fully punted. We're going to be talking about it for the next month. So if you go down the path of, like, give me a reason why you think the Padres can do this, where would you start? 844-570-1360, 70470. You can start your message with team. If you're in the chat on YouTube, make sure to comment there. Give me a reason, guys, and let's just go around the room to start. Give me one reason why you think the Padres, if they are to do it, what's the reason why?
I will go with schedule.
Oh, the schedule card.
I will go with schedule. And I say that. Now, anything I would have said, I'm not like super confident in it. Okay. But like you said, you have to give me one reason.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give me just
a reason.
Just a reason.
Yeah, not 10.
No, right. Just one reason. Okay. And you look at their upcoming schedule. Arizona for 4 this weekend. All right. Miami for 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go St. Louis on the road, like San Francisco. Then you have Oakland, Colorado. Like the way they end their season, John.
Those last 2 weeks are against bad teams.
Yeah.
Right.
You got Oakland for 3, Colorado for 3 at home, St. Louis for 3 at home, San Francisco for 3 on the road, and you end in Chicago versus the White Sox.
You know what? Mostly bad teams. Obviously, San Francisco's had a much better season, but you got a 15-game stretch where 12 of those games are against teams that are going to have like worse records than you have.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get to the final 15 games, to your point, I'll go down that path with you. If you get to the final 15 games, and let's just say right now they were 3 games out, it's very possible. I mean, they're 5.5 out right now. They could be closer than that. They could be worse than that. But if they were 3 out with 15 to play and that's their schedule, and again, we'd be saying the same thing. So they haven't done it to this point. Are they really going to do it now?
Yeah.
But you could kind of forecast it, right? With that schedule, if they were just a couple of games out, that they could get in. Okay, you say schedule.
I say schedule.
Brent, I'm putting you on the spot. A reason why the Padres could do this and reach the postseason, despite being 6 games under 500 heading into tonight.
Their bats are finally going to come around. We've been waiting all year for them. They'll, like last night, they scored runs, and then if their MO continues, they'll score 1 run, from here until Friday. So maybe this is the time where their bats are finally going to heat up, and they're going to literally wait until the last minute. And, if they can get their bats warmed up for a couple weeks, they could jump back into it.
Okay, so offense, I like that. Okay, so consistent offense, which we haven't seen. I'm going to go with this. They have the worst record in baseball history in 1-run games if the season was over. 6-19 is the worst winning percentage in baseball history for a team in 1-run games. I'll go with this. If they flip that script, let's say they play that's 25 games in 3/4 of the season. So let's say they play another 8 or 9 1-run games. If as opposed to going 2-6, they go 6-2, I think it could be the difference. If they can finally win close games, it's been perplexing. I know Dennis Lynn wrote about this today. The issues they've had with Josh Hader, who's unwilling to go essentially more than 3 outs. Maybe that's too strong of a word, unwilling, but you get the point. There have been handcuffs there. Look at what's going on with Baltimore, for example. Their closer has a rubber arm. He's had multiple 2-out saves in the last week.
Mm-hmm.
He's had like 3 within the last couple of weeks. I say that if they can win a couple of extra inning games, if they can win some 1 and 2 run games, if as opposed to going 2 and 6 in those games, they go 6 and 2, maybe that's enough. But the point is probably this. There's no really good reason.
No.
Schedule's not a great reason. All of a sudden, they're going to be good in 1-run games. It's not exactly a reason.
I can say this definitively. There's not much confidence behind these reasons that we're giving you.
Right. But we're trying to give you, like, I think it's a fair thing to say. It's not like it's not like we're out in left field saying, hey, if Juan Soto hits 20 home runs in the final 40 games, they're in good shape.
Right. You have some things that are very possibly going to be a reason if they ever turn it around. Now, 43 games left. I mean, 42. You don't have much time here. You're 6 games under 500. And going back to last night's game, like I said during the update today, last night was great for run differential nerds, right? If you're out there touting that run differential is a thing, last night's game was the best game ever for you. You love last night's game. But why last night's game, and I said on the wrap-up show last night, it upsets me more than it gets me excited, is because why can't they do this consistently? I'm not saying score 10 runs. We've already heard Tatis earlier this year get upset at people for asking this exact question, thinking that we're saying that they need to score 10 runs a game. We are not saying that. Okay? We're not. We're saying, why don't you, have a competent offense that is consistently scoring 4, 5, 6 runs a game? They have the power. They have the pieces there to do it. They just can't. They just don't do it. Not that they can't do it. They just don't do it. And so last night's win, albeit, hey, man, if you went to that game, it was awesome. Awesome time. Grand slam, first of the year, right? Score 10 runs. No stress in that game whatsoever. Walk-up pitch, great. You even got to see something you haven't seen in like 2 weeks, right? And that was Matt Carpenter. But the thing with last night is, if you watch this team all year long, every single game like we have, is it frustrates you because you're afraid that tonight is going to be a 4-2 loss.
Right. Look, last night means nothing unless they win tonight, obviously.
And then they win the next night. And then they win the series 3-4 versus Arizona. And then they win the Miami series, come up next week, 2 out of 3. And then they go to Milwaukee and take 2 or 3 there. And then, hell, maybe they even sweep the Cardinals. Like, it only matters, games like last night, it only matters and makes a difference if they go on that streak that I just said.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly like that, to be honest.
I know. So that's shooting for the absolute moon.
But what it does need to be is, like, we've said this so many times, there's like 6 or 7 times we've come on the air after a Padres win and be like, everything's setting up beautifully. Look at the starting pitching matchup.
I'm not fooled.
Look at the way they played yesterday. Look at the fact that they're at home. Like, tonight against Baltimore, and Baltimore's been great. They're 28 games over 500. But Blake Snell at home, off a big win in a series you got to get, with the Padres a heavy favorite, I got to think. Let me check right now. They have to be a heavy favorite. They are minus 180 tonight, behind maybe the Cy Young favorite right now in the National League. Is a game you just have to have. But we've said that 6 or 7 times, and 6 or 7 times they've lost that very game. Like tonight for me, we'll go back to this well. It's another, you just got to have it.
Have to.
And if you don't, we go through the whole song and dance again. Well, if they win 3 out of 4 against Arizona and they're chasing, at some point, you're going to run out of reasons why this is even possible. So tonight is the start. If it's going to happen, for me, it's got to start with a series win against a good team, potentially like Baltimore with Blake Snell on the mound. If they don't do it tonight, it's just another reason to believe that for whatever reason, this team just ain't it.
But they've done that though, John.
I know.
They've won series versus good teams. I still don't like. I still think this is a fait accompli. We're just playing out the games here, and eventually, it's going to end how we all think it's going to end.
Right.
With them being eliminated with maybe a week or a week and a half to go, not making the postseason, and major changes on the horizon. I think that's where I'm leaning, and that's where I've been leaning towards. I'm not going to even consider this team a serious team until they're over 500, if they even get there this year. But like, I'm not opposed to saying that there's still things there. Like if you hit all your lucky numbers, winning the lottery ticket. Now, is that likely? We'll see. But they're there. And you wanted a reason. You wanted one reason today, right? There you go. The schedule. The last 2 weeks of the year, they have a cake schedule. Now, granted, they haven't done anything against, cake teams this year. They've actually performed really bad against teams under 500. And they're also a bad team too. But it is almost like and I see it on the chat on YouTube, the due theory, right? Like
they're overly due.
At some point, they have to be due. We'll see if it happens. I don't know.
How about this though? You just said like, hey, yeah, if you hit all your numbers, you win the lottery. But the truth is, like what Darren said earlier during the Fusion, and we referenced it yesterday, their chances of making the postseason per Fangraphs, take it for whatever it's worth, but there has to be at least some value in it, is up to over 19%. Well, the odds of really winning the lottery are 1 in hundreds of thousands, if not millions. This is more like the odds of winning a free ticket. When you look at the back of the scratch off, it's like 1 in 5 tickets win a free ticket, and everyone that's ever played a scratch off lottery has won. They just haven't won big. We've all won $2. We've all won free tickets. We've probably even won $5, $10, even $20. I think what the math would tell you now, even though it doesn't seem like it because there's 6 games under 500, and if you've watched baseball for your whole life, teams that are 6 games under 500 don't make the playoffs. But the math is saying, you know what? They are like, maybe they could win a free ticket. And if they have those odds, like maybe they get in. They're 5.5 games out, Jim. If this is 1993, season's over. If it was 2003, the season's probably over with 1 wild card. And you get the point. But with 3 wild cards, as much as you want to say, you got to win the lotto to get in, I don't think that's the case. I think they're one stretch away, which hasn't happened all season and may not happen. Scott Miller yesterday with us. They're one stretch away from finding themselves in contention to make the postseason.
Don't get me wrong. I am still very, very, very down on this team. No, there is not a part of me today that's like, buy the playoff tickets now. It's not. But you also do agree. I do. Yes.
At 5.5 out, if they win their next 2 games and get the right results, what are you going to say when they're 3.5 out with 40 to play?
They have to hit the right lotto numbers for the rest of the year to make they need to virtually have almost everything go their way with almost, not all of it, almost, with teams in front of them losing on the exact days they win and maybe they need to have that stretch where it's like, okay, they win a game, the teams in front of them lose the game. If they lose a game, everyone in front of them needs to lose a game so they don't lose, ground. If they win a game, like they need to have that happen consistently for the next 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. And you look up and you're a game and a half out. Now, do I believe that's going to happen with the way this team has played and how they have, basically just giving up on games in their back pocket, and they easily show that to you every other 4 games, right? This team just gives up. No, I don't. I have to see it to believe it first. But like you said, it's there. It's there. It's just, can they actually do it or not?
Here's the thing. I don't think it's as extreme as what you're saying. If they were capable of putting together a 4-game winning streak, only team in baseball that doesn't have it. If they were capable of going 6-2 to finish off this homestand, there's 42 games left. They don't need every result to go their way. They just need to play consistently well, which is something that they haven't done all season long. It's probably more on them than it is on everyone else, if that makes sense. I mean, if they play to their capability for 10 days, go 7-3, they'll put some pressure on. For whatever reason, they haven't been able to do it all season long. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's just who they are. That's what I said heading into the trade deadline. I'm like, I just don't buy this team. I'm not buying because I don't buy this team. So I still feel the way you do, but I'm just saying this, that if they were to get hot, which is a big if they were to get hot, they'd find themselves in a position where they could get in.
Yeah, I still think it's pretty much over, that the bigger picture questions are going to start to be
I don't think it's pretty much over
right now. That they need to look themselves in the mirror after the season, and if they fire Bob Melvin, that's a horrible mistake. And
but
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of big picture things that I still am looking at. I'm not just throwing those away after a 1-10
Nobody
10-3
is,
win.
but the truth is the truth. They're 5.5 games out.
Yeah.
So you can talk about what's going to happen at the end of the regular season, or
Yeah.
you could say if they go 5-3 in their next 8 games and they're 4 games out, what are you going to say? I can't wait for the offseason? Or are you going to talk about it like they're 4 games out with 40 games to play?
Well, it's up to them.
42 games. If they were 5.5 out with 7 to play, sure. But they're not.
It's up to them. It's all on them. Are they going to make this exciting or not? Right. Now, granted, this team's MO and identity is to like go right up to the edge and then completely rip your heart out. Like, hey, we're 3.5 back. Oh, we just lost 3 in a row. We're back to 6.5 back.
Right.
Like, that's what I am kind of not expecting to happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened at all. I wouldn't if they did that.
Listen, we both feel the same way. I said I would have sold at the trade deadline, but I have to recognize, I think it's unfair to say, like, what are we going to say in a week if they're 3 games out? What are you going to say? Season's over. They didn't make it. We're going to have to recognize the fact. A week ago, they were 3 games out. Now they're 5.5 games out. What happens if they get back to within 3 games out? Are we just going to pretend
roller coaster, baby?
Are we just going to say that the season is? There's no way. The thing is, there is a way. It's contingent on them. I think it's less contingent on Cubs. Worry about the Cubs and the Marlins and the Reds later, and just win and get because they picked up a game basically on everyone last night. So, and they could lose a game on everyone again here tonight. But you said yesterday, hey, if the Padres lose and the Marlins win, they're 7.5 out. Well, guess what? The opposite happened, and they're 5.5 out. That's a 2-game swing in one night.
It's true. And you can get another 2-game swing today, right?
Based on that, sure. They could be 4.5 out, or they could be 6.5 out.
Right. Because if you look at this here, 5.5 out. The Giants, have they lost already?
They have.
Okay.
Or they were down 6-1 in the 9th.
They're going to lose today. It's a final. You got Arizona potentially winning tonight
or losing, right?
Well, they're up 9-7 in the ninth, in the bottom of the 9th inning in Colorado. So we'll see. And who do the Marlins play today, if they even play?
Houston.
Houston. Okay. So go Houston. Go Astros.
340.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just saying, listen, it's been frustrating. There's 6 games under 500. At any other time in baseball history, it's over until you're in the National League where no team is very good, and you still remain the 7-3 homestand away from being 2.5 games out.
It's frustrating because, like you said, you can't officially, and if you want, you can officially give up on the season.
Sure.
Right? You can. I'm not 100% giving up on the season.
That's my point.
I'm like 80-20, maybe like 85-15, where like the season's over.
That's what Fangraphs. But I'm saying like 20% is not 1 in a million.
And I've said that. I've said, yeah, it feels like this is over. They have given me reasons to say that season is over because of them saying that they quit on games and how they have played. Like, they have given me all the reason in the world to believe that this season is over.
I agree with you.
But again, I have said it, that it's not 100% the season's over for me. It's very close. I am on the doorstep. I'm right there, right? I'm waiting to see if they're going to actually prove anybody wrong. But we'll see.
Now, if they lose tonight, it's done. I'm kidding. But it basically
it's
is.
over.
But look at it this way. Here's why I'm saying this, though. If they were in the American League, I'd be selling off-season because they'd be 9 games out or 9.5 games out. But at 5.5, I don't think it's yet the point where you just put the full fork in them and say it's completely over. That's all I'm saying.
Until they're 7.5 back this weekend, and you're like, fork, steak in him.
Potentially. Let's see what Allen Sliwa has to say about it. It is a team that's 6 games under 500. Allen Sliwa, San Diegan. We'll get into the NBA's in-season tournament, by the way. We have more details on that. Lakers' schedule comes out tomorrow. Allen, of course, covers the Lakers for ESPN LA. So Allen Sliwa, San Diegan on the other side, still ahead. Great ticket giveaways today. Darius Rucker, Duran, and more. Allen Sliwa, host of Lakers Talk. We'll talk to us about the Padres and more coming up next. All right, what does Allen Sliwa think? He's a San Diegan, lifelong Padres fan. What does he make of the Padres, their struggles, their chances down the stretch? Plus, looking ahead to next NBA season and the schedule release. Next with Allen Sliwa.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, they beat up on the Orioles last night. Run differential game, 10-3. Gary Sanchez had the Padres' first grand slam of the year last night. Michael Wacha returned and looked really good in his return from the IL. Tonight, Blake Snell makes the start for the Padres as they're looking for the series win, 5:40 first pitch at Petco Park. Staples has great prices on all the back-to-school essentials. Now you can save even more with $20 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $50 or more. Rewards members only. Ends 8/19. Redeemable in-store only. School on, save on at Staples.
All right, the highs and lows of a Padres baseball season. Again, they're 6 games under 500. We asked for a reason to maybe still have hope. I mean, they're 5.5 games out. You can go back and forth on this literally every single day. We're going to talk to Allen Sliwa, ESPN LA's Allen Sliwa, about the Padres. He's a San Diegan. Of course, he covers the Lakers as well in Los Angeles. But I want to start with the Padres now, and it's always good to have you with us here, John and Jim. The all-new San Diego Sports 760. Are you holding out hope, or do you think it's over from the Padres' perspective?
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. I've tried, probably like every other Padre fan, to just, hey, there's a little glimmer of hope. Let me run with it. Hey, there's a little glimmer of hope. Let me run with it. I think I'm out. I don't know. They keep telling us who they are. They keep telling us that they're incredibly inconsistent, that you don't know what you're going to get every single night, that there isn't this battle or fight on a night in, night out basis. I think they find ways to lose instead of find ways to win. I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, even just of a couple days ago going into the Arizona series, it was like, all right, can they put themselves in a position where they get back on track against the Diamondbacks? And the answer was no. So listen, if something happens, I think we're all going to still watch the games and hope it turns around. But aren't we kind of just fooling ourselves to think at this point, this many games in, that something different's that the result's going to be any different?
Right. It's one of those like what will happen wrong, or like, it will happen. It's until they show any signs of turning it around consistently for a long period of time, this team is who they are. It's just a team where one night they'll score 10 runs, the next night they'll score 1 run. It's just, that's their DNA. And there's been a lot of talk, Allen, about potentially Bob Melvin being let go after this season. From a fan perspective, how do you feel about that? And what's your view from a fan perspective on Bob Melvin?
Listen, I get it. I think in any sport, when you have real expectations, the Padres are not supposed to be 6 games below 500. They're not supposed to be 4th place in the NL West. I mean, just think about the buzz around this team. I mean, for God's sakes, the mantra is bring the gold. Just think about that for a second, where we were Fan Fest, where you were after they made some of the acquisitions, Tatis coming back, Juan Soto getting now a full season with the Padres. The expectations of what they were and where the franchise is sitting, whether it's fair or it's not fair, this is how sports work. The first person to go is going to be your coach or your manager. That's just how it works. And, frankly, and it's not that I'm against Bob Melvin. I thought he had a lot to do with the success that the Padres had last year. But at the end of the day, his message, even early in the season when he called out the team, it never really resonated. It never really changed anything. And I don't know, by putting a new manager in there, if it all of a sudden changes everything. But would you feel comfortable that you don't make that change going into next year? And would you feel, what would make you think something's going to change if Melvin is there? I get it. If he's not there once the season ends, I think that's just part of the price of doing business and part of the price of doing business for a team that you have this high of a payroll with. Okay,
so let me ask you this then. You have to keep one. AJ Preller or Bob Melvin?
I keep Preller.
Why?
And I can't even. The Preller piece of it, there is a lot of, well, go look at your front office and the moves that they went and made. Go look at the amount of years on some of these contracts that you have with some of these players and the risk that is long-term. You can definitely point the finger at AJ Preller, but I do feel like there's a lot of what Preller does. I think there's a lot of, okay, well, Seidler's obviously on board with that. If you're telling me you got to pick between the two, you have as much talent as any other team in Major League Baseball. You really, really do. Top to bottom, there's as much talent. And there are areas where you could say, okay, look, a little bit further in the lineup, is there enough depth? No, there isn't. Compare them to some of these other teams out there that have more depth. But how can you be this far back in an NL that clearly has a number of teams that are incredibly inconsistent? I mean, really, in the NL, all you're looking at is the Dodgers and the Atlanta Braves that you're saying these are the two power horses in the NL. There's that many openings in the NL to go make one of these wild card spots, and the Padres haven't been able. When's the last time they've even been 500? And Jim, I've heard you say this all the time. I'm not going to take them seriously until they get to 500.
Yeah,
that means we haven't taken them seriously since May.
3.5 months.
So, and it's a good question, and I like the question, but I just think that for what they have, Bob Melvin should have been able to. And I'm not trying to say that with runners in scoring position, that's Bob Melvin's fault. With 1-run games, that's Bob Melvin's fault. Completely Bob Melvin's fault, because that's not how it works. The players got to perform too. But I think that's more. The blame is probably going to fall on the manager before it falls on the GM, because the roster and the names are there. Now the question is will there be anybody else that can change that around?
All right, ESPN LA's Allen Sliwa with us right now on John and Jim, the all-new San Diego Sports 760. Let's switch gears, a couple of topics. I want to get to the NBA and the Lakers. I also want to ask you about Aztecs basketball.
I get a migraine for the Padres.
Yeah, we all do.
Every San Diegan, we're just having Advil every night watching these.
I mean, imagine. I mean, we literally talk about this for like 4 hours a day.
And
they're 57 and 63.
Like, hey, create content. Talk about this Padres team for 4 hours a day. Congratulations, your life sucks.
Regarding the in-season tournament, and we've talked to you about this since we found out some details and format. Sell me on this. I mean, the Lakers, the
Sell me on this.
20-something time champion. Come on. I mean, is anyone in Los Angeles going to take this thing seriously if the Lakers are in the quarterfinals of the NBA Cup? How are we selling this thing?
Putting banners up everywhere. Okay, so this is I think this is my sale job on the in-season tournament. I was doing my show yesterday, my Lakers show yesterday, and the best pitch that I can have is I think the NBA and Adam Silver I think they've done a good job, specifically Adam Silver as commissioner of the NBA. And I'm not telling you that there aren't things that are incredibly annoying in the NBA, which, look at some of the replays, look at how long it takes for them to make a decision. They're killing the flow of the game for some of those replays. But I also want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm not telling you that it's going to work. I'm telling you that I'm open to seeing it because I think for the Lakers, their first game of the in-season tournament is November 10th. And it might end November 24th of like the games that are actually scheduled. And then you'll get into this. I think 8 teams move on. 22 teams go back to their regular season schedule. Because you're not adding any games to the regular season, that this is just part of the regular season. I don't know if there's all that much interest to begin with from November 10th moving forward. I mean, you got all the college football games going on. Obviously, the NFL dominating the way it is. Even if it just attracts a little bit more attention, even if it just, okay, hey, I have some curiosity. Maybe this works, maybe it doesn't. If they fall flat on their face, I'm not going to be upset at them for trying something different. But I just go back to it. You're going to play 82 games. I know the 2 teams that make it to the finals are the only 2 teams that will play 83 games. You're adding 1 game to the schedule. That you already have such a long schedule, and there's so many, unless you're a big NBA fan, I just don't think that many people care about the regular season anyways, that I don't think this is going to take away from what they already had. Is it a little quirky and unnecessary? Yeah, probably. Is this more just about, is this another money grab? So a couple networks say, ESPN says, cool, we have this in-season tournament. You get a few more sponsors. 100% that's what it is. There really isn't any incentives other than you're paying players more money. Well, that doesn't do anything for the consumer. But I just want to give them the benefit of the doubt because I think it's smart to try something different, even though I'm very hesitant to think that it will be a success.
Anthony Davis, 3 years, $186 million contract extension with the Lakers. Your thoughts on that?
By the way, my whole pitch to the in-season tournament, I think halfway through, I'm like, I don't think this is going well. Even I wasn't that sold on the in-season tournament as I was saying that. Okay, so AD, I think they had a choice, to be honest with you. He's 30 years old. I think with some people, it's so easy to pay attention to what guys are doing on the offensive end, and it's so easy to say, look at Joker and look at his numbers, and look at Luka and look at his numbers. AD's the best player on the defensive side 95% of the time that he's on the floor. He's unbelievable on the defensive side. He could change games completely because of what he does on the defensive side. 30 is still a reasonable age where a 5-year deal is not that crazy. And I'm talking 5 years. His extension plus what he already has under contract is going to be 5 years total. But there's, of course, risk to it. I mean, Anthony Davis, I was looking this up yesterday. I think since maybe 7 years ago was the last time he played 75 games in a season. I don't think he's played over 65 games since that 75 games. So the risk with Anthony Davis is always going to be his availability. But I don't think I don't really think they could have done something different. Okay, you don't give him an extension. AD's going to end up somewhere else and he's going to make the money. And I don't think I'm against building around Anthony Davis. I don't think Anthony Davis is going to be an MVP. I don't think Anthony Davis can be the best player on a team that wins a championship, but I still think Anthony Davis can be a critical piece to a championship run. So I'm not all that against it, even though I know the risk that is involved.
All right, we're up against it. Next time we have you on, I want to talk some Aztecs hoops too. And we still have a couple of months, so we'll talk San Diego State basketball off the national championship game appearance. I always forget, Alan, were you at the Final Four or not? You were, right?
He was, all right. FAU?
Yeah. They're at for both games. They're on that Saturday and they're on that Monday.
Didn't you say it was like the best sporting experience of your entire life?
Unbelievable. Saturday was unbelievable, and Monday I think I brainwashed myself thinking that we're going to beat Connecticut, and then I was just disappointed for a solid week. But it doesn't take away from anything they accomplished. Obviously, you just wanted a national championship. No question about it. One of the best sporting events ever in my life. Not even close.
When they got it down to 5 with 5 minutes to play, like they're going to do this thing again. They're for a moment, and then I want to say
Hawkins hit the
3. He curling off a screen 3.
Yeah.
To make it an 8-point game. Allen, always appreciate it. Love your perspective. We'll do it again soon. Hope things are well, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
All right, ESPN LA's Allen Sliwa. Back to the Padres on the other side. We saw something so rare last night, we may never, ever, ever see it again. We'll tell you what that is up next. All right, we're going to give away Pantera tickets in the next 10 minutes. Between now and 4 p.m., be listening for your chance to win. Do not call now. If you want those tickets, it's Pantera. It'll be at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater August 26th. More info at Ticketmaster.com. We'll hear from Bob Melvin in a second on this. It finally happened in a 10-1 game. Matt Carpenter appeared in a Padres game last night as a pinch hitter, appearing in a game for the first time since July 24th.
It's almost unheard of.
Over 3 weeks without appearing in a game on an active roster. I'm still left with the same questions we've had over the last 48 hours. What is going on that has put Carpenter, Melvin, Preller, like in this situation where he just isn't playing? Like, why?
And it's going to be like, once you hear Bob Melvin talk about it here in a moment, it makes it even
more questions,
more interesting. And you're right. There's even more questions because, like, I don't know, dude. It's just weird. The only time he's going to get in a bat is when they're up
one game
by 9 runs.
And this idea, well, he hasn't had a good year. Well, there's a lot of guys that haven't had good years.
And they have 2 players on this team right now, John, that are never going to see the field in a close game. Think about that.
Luis Garcia and Matt Carpenter?
Yeah. Those players will never see the field in a close game.
Yeah, but you kind of need, you're up 10, here's Garcia. You're down 8, here's Garcia.
Yeah,
I don't know why you need Matt Carpenter not playing.
Well, especially in a couple of weeks, they're going to have September call-ups.
Which only now is been limited to 2 spots, right? You go from 26 to 28.
It's not like all of a sudden the roster's at 40 in the bench.
But it'll still be 2 more people that they probably won't play either.
Maybe that's actually, that furthers the point that, like, will we even see Carpenter again if they add another position player to the roster?
There has to, if Carpenter's already not, if he's still on this team right now, he's going to be on the team for the rest of the year.
Has to.
What are the odds he's on the opening day roster next season?
That is an amazing question. I would assume low. You're bringing him back just because he's owed $6 million? I'm asking. I don't think so. I don't think he's coming back for that. I really don't. Anyway, this is Bob Melvin on Carpenter getting into a game last night for the first time in forever.
What was the impetus besides the big lead to go with Carpenter this time when you haven't before?
I just needed to get him at bat. That's all. And I've never pulled for a guy to get a hit so hard in my life. But it was, it was really difficult having sit around for that long and have to go up there and try to manage an at bat. It's almost impossible.
So that sounds like he's almost saying that if I'm pulling for this guy as much as I've pulled for anyone, it's almost like my hands were tied and I couldn't use them.
Give me your conspiracy theory again.
Now I'm going to spin it the other way.
Okay.
My conspiracy theory now is, hey, Bob, it's AJ. And again, I could be dead wrong here. And I'm not Mr.
But
Rumor.
I love conspiracy theories.
Let me take you down this path. Hey, Bob, it's AJ.
Hi.
Yeah, I know. I have your number on my phone.
I have you blocked. What do you want?
You can't play Matt Carpenter. Why? I'll explain more at the end of the season. But you can't play him. This call comes in on July 25th. All right. And then he calls back like 3 days later. Can I still not play him? Yes, you cannot play him. And then finally, I guess yesterday, AJ calls like, oh, my bad. Did I tell you that 3 weeks ago? I meant to call you back. I've been on so busy. And he's like, yeah, you can play him. That's fine.
You can play him if we're only up by 9 runs and he has a pinch hitting opportunity in the 9th inning.
I thought you were talking about another Matt Carpenter.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Matt Carpenter? Oh, okay. My bad.
But there has to be a reason. It can't be circumstance. Oh, the circumstances presented themselves that didn't get him into a game. Really?
Because they got G-Man Choi to be that left-handed bat off the bench because Matt Carpenter wasn't cutting it.
Right, but he's on the IL.
He's on the IL now, so they have no left-handed bat off the bench. Am I right about that? Is Matt Gamble?
Is Ben Gamble lefty?
Ben Gamble, sorry. Why did I say Matt?
I don't know. Ben Gamble is a
guy too,
lefty.
Though.
Yes.
Okay, so then just kidding. Now they have a lefty.
So which probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But before he was called up last night, they had no lefties on the bench. Except for Matt Carpenter, who was like not being used.
Right.
It's just a weird situation. Like you said, we saw something last night that we might not ever see again. And that's a Matt Carpenter at bat in the big leagues.
Which is weird. I mean, when the season started, like Carpenter and Cruz were splitting ABs at DH. And I get it. Okay, it didn't pan out. That's understandable.
He had a good week.
But then why is he here? If it didn't work out for Cruz and he was DFA'd, and I think the reason's probably money, Jim. Cruz $1 million flyer deal. Carpenter 2 years, 12 million, but I just don't understand. So you're unwilling to punt on that money and you keep him on your roster, which theoretically hurts you because you're not using the player. You're allowing yourself to be hurt by the bad deal. It doesn't make any sense to me.
He's a great clubhouse guy.
I guess so.
Yay. Because
Yeah.
the clubhouse
That
is
chestnut again.
Yeah.
because he's really helping the clubhouse out.
Like Hedge just said about Hosmer.
Okay. Yeah. The fans didn't know what they had until he's actually, I think they did know what the Padres had and what they had on the field.
Well, he said it doesn't matter
Isn't
about
that
his
like a
OPS. He
Poison
helps you
song?
win games, even though he's not in the big leagues.
Right. And even though he didn't really technically help you win games because he wasn't on the team last year when they went to the NLCS and he was only playing 18 games in a 60-game season when they made the postseason in a fake year.
All right, call right now if you want tickets to see Pantera. 844-570-1360, caller 5. They are yours. Pantera, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is August 26th. More info at Ticketmaster.com. That's 10 days from now. Great giveaway. 2 free tickets to see Pantera. Call right now, 844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. We'll get to the wrap on the other side. Also in the 4 o'clock hour, your chance to win tickets to see Darius Rucker at Gallagher Square. Hour 2, John and Jim. That comes your way next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres beat the Orioles last night 10-3 thanks to a Gary Sanchez grand slam, the Padres' first grand slam in about a year. Michael Walker returned to the mound, looked good after returning from injury. Tonight, Padres looking for the series win against Baltimore as Blake Snell makes the start tonight for the Padres. 5:40 first pitch there. Staples has great prices on all the back-to-school essentials. Now you can save even more with $20 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $50 or more. Rewards members only. Ends 8/19. Redeemable in-store only. School on, save on at Staples.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 2 of John and Jim. This hour, your chance to win tickets to see Darius Rucker. This is at Petco Park, Gallagher Square, in fact, August 25th. More info at Ticketmaster.com. Remember an hour ago, we're like, listen, there's 6 under. It's only one game. Give me a break. Off season, big questions.
That was you.
What's that?
Okay, just continue.
Hear me out. If the Padres win tonight, keyword if, that's the first word of the sentence.
Both capital letters.
IF. If. Bolded, italicized, underlined.
Yes.
Okay?
Bold.
They are
Very bold.
4.5 games out of a playoff spot. How do I know that? Because the Marlins are terrible and losing to the Astros 5-0 in the first inning. You say, what do you mean they're terrible? The Padres are worse. You get my point. They're there for the taking. They're coming here for 3. You don't have to sweep them. You take 2 of 3, you gain another game. You get my point. If, again, capitalized, underlined, shoot, maybe even strike through.
Well, if it's a strike through, then it looks like it's like
you get my point. Like maybe big font, like 88,
like
and then everything else is 12.
Yeah. If
the Padres win tonight, and I get it, not a foregone conclusion, and I'm not saying it is, even with everything stacked in their favor. Snell, minus 180 favorites, hoodie night.
Ooh,
that's a big reason why you typically win.
Huge
right?
night. By the way, last night we were talking about fans at the ballpark.
What they announce?
Just over 35.
Okay, so they've 2 mid-30s, high 30s.
Yep.
I would think tonight with the giveaway.
Oh, tonight will
probably
be 40.
Be good.
Tonight will be a back on the sellout train.
I don't know, maybe.
I think so.
Potentially.
I think so.
And then we'll see about the Marlins next week in Arizona. Again, these aren't huge draws. Arizona, Miami, I wouldn't think, but we'll see.
You don't want to see Josh Bell?
I kind of do, to be honest.
And Skip Schumacher?
But are you buying what I'm selling? Hey, Marlins are going to lose tonight. You're buying that. They're down 5-0.
Yeah.
And if the Padres win, 4.5 games, it can't be like season's over. And you might say, again, they're 5 under. It's going to be hard. That's all fair. But I'm just saying, if capitalized, italicized, 88 font.
If.
It's just like these other teams are just leaving you in. I mean, the Marlins last night had 2 3-run leads and lost.
That's why this whole thing is just so excruciating, because it's almost like at times with this team, it feels like you're saying, put us out of our misery.
Sure, but nobody's done it.
But no one's done it yet. The fan base can't say that the team is putting them out of their misery because, like you said, if
there's some ifs and a
lot big ifs.
It could be like 3 Fs.
Yeah.
Right. If.
Yep. And then you're looking at this weekend, and then next week with Miami coming to town. There's going to be one way this goes for the Padres. You lose 3 or 4 to Arizona this weekend, or even if you split with Arizona and then you lose 2 or 3 to Miami, then that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Then the if is
maybe it's not an if. Right.
It's gone.
Right.
But if you win 3 or 4 versus Arizona and 2 or 3 against Miami, how you doing?
All right, disregard everything I said. The Marlins have scored 2 runs. It's 5-2. They're very good.
I hate
James. Far from over.
This is your fault.
Marlins might win out.
Okay. By the way, if the Marlins lose tonight, or if the Marlins win tonight,
you can blame me.
I'm going to 100% blame you.
Again, I'm okay with that. With the Padres at 57 and 63, you can't put this thing on me.
The Marlins are playing for art.
Yes, right.
Art, yes.
Exactly.
Like the big art thing in the center field wall that
Derek
Jeter
used to be there
said no.
until Derek Jeter got rid of it.
Yeah, Derek Jeter's
and the former owner's like, how on earth could they get rid of public art? What a shameful display. Which was basically that piece of art was kind of a shameful display.
Yeah, like they're just going to put it in a park somewhere in Miami.
All right, this hour, your chance to win tickets to see Darius Rucker at Gallagher Square still ahead. Wait until you hear what Shohei Ohtani may actually be worth to his next team. But right now, let's get to this.
Will Blake Snell win the Cy Young?
I don't know if he will win the Cy Young, but he's definitely in the conversation for it. If you're looking at every other pitcher in the National League, John.
That's how it works, yeah. Because you have to be better than every other pitcher to win it. In the National League.
We've learned so much in the last 2 days.
That's how I would look at this.
If you're watching on YouTube right now, who wants to see me punch John?
Hey, we need a replacement for Elon and a Facebook guy. So
That's true. Well, in the National League, all right. If I pull this up here.
I'm glad you were prepared for this.
I am. Blake Snell currently leads the National League in ERA. All right. He's right on the cusp of double-digit wins. He's going to have over, I think, 200 plus strikeouts. I would say he's the front runner for it right now.
All right, that's great. So Jim didn't answer the question.
But will he win it? No.
I think he will. All right. He leads the league, like you said, in ERA. He's second in WAR. He's first in strikeouts per 9. I think wins means nothing when you look at like DeGrom.
They don't mean anything.
A couple times. So I think he will, because there's no real reason to say, I mean, who's the name that's like so far above? You might say, well, Snell's not on a very good team, but who are you going to say? Like, give me that guy on that great team, Logan Webb,
Spencer Strider. But his ERA is not really great. He's just far and away leads the league in strikeouts.
Right.
Quadzilla.
The Justin Steele with the Cubs. I mean, maybe. I think Snell's right there. And I think, let me just say this. If he finishes off the season the way he's pitched the last 2 months, he will win it. If he can finish this thing off with a 2.63 ERA or better, he will win it.
I think Zach Gallen is a top 5 potential Cy Young.
That's great.
Candidate.
Next question.
Shut up.
Would you guys like to see Gary Sanchez back with the Pods in 2024?
Yeah, I would. It just, he might make a lot of money elsewhere because of what he has done this season with the Padres. He's had a fantastic year, just a fantastic year for this team. He has more RBIs than Xander Bogaerts, and he's played in like 60 less games than him with the Padres. He's going to have around 20 home runs this year. He's been fantastic. I think he could make a lot of money, but yeah, I would like to see him return with the Padres, but on a short-term deal, not something crazy. And I don't know if that's possible with how Gary's played this year.
1-year deal.
That's what I said.
No Carpenter.
Short.
No, I don't even
one
like
with an option.
I don't like 2 for 12.
One with the team.
He's making 1.5. Okay. So I buy the, hey, he's worth a handful of $1 million. I do. But 2 for 12 and the 3 for 30, right? The 2 for 18. You know, I want the certainty. Give me year by year. I would say with Gary Sanchez, he was really down before this run with San Diego. So yeah, I want to see him back for a year on a 1-year deal. I don't know what he can get off this. I mean, he's in his 30s. It's been a very nice run, but I don't think he's getting 3-4 years. I want to see him back in a 1-year deal. Next question.
Who will win the Women's World Cup final between Spain and England?
Yes, Jim.
I'll take Spain. So that means you have to take England, John.
Okay. Should we bet something?
No. Speaking of bets.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I owe you sushi. You act like it's been like a week. I'll buy it for you.
Where's my sushi?
Jim asked like we're going to run out of fish or something.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll get it for you.
Where's my...
I'm not going to bring it in. We can go to get sushi. So text me or tell me one day.
I want a sushi boat now.
No, I'm not getting you a boat, dude. I'm getting you like a California roll.
No,
I want
to just get him a boat, literally, and just go catch your own sushi.
I want a rainbow roll.
Who do you have? I got England,
and I have Spain.
You want to double or nothing this sushi?
No.
Well, you just said you wanted to bet.
Who's the favorite?
England. It's even. Spain minus 116. England minus 102. Spain just by a hair. 51-49.
Go Spain.
All right. When is that? This weekend? Got to be this weekend.
Sure.
Yeah, you're watching like it's right now. No, that was last night.
I'm like, is it happening right
TV.
now?
All right, I say England, you say Spain. That's fair. All right, next question.
Hold on. I was going to actually look it up, see when the game was. Never mind. All right. ESPN's FBI gives the Chargers a 50% chance of reaching the postseason. Is that too high or too low?
Why?
Chargers postseason question, Jim.
Why? Why?
It's Sunday, by the way, 3 a.m.
Why?
Sunday, 3 a.m.
Great.
You're watching.
Why?
I'll set my alarm.
Why?
Well, there was this lengthy article at ESPN.com about the origin of the word chargering.
Yeah, the title is hilarious.
I don't even know how I ended up getting into it because we never talk about it and I could really care less. But I clicked on it. And then at the bottom it said, well, they literally have a 50-50 chance of making the postseason this year. They chargered away the 28-point lead against the Jags on like Saturday night on Peacock, like in the NFL playoffs last year. I don't even know how people watch that. I think Al Michaels might have called that game on Amazon or something. Who knows? So what do you think? I mean, will they make it or will they not?
They'll miss out because Brandon Staley sucks. I did see something today on social media where they like brought back Antonio Gates and they played all of the highlights from San Diego. It was pretty funny. Like every time they play highlights, it's from like past players. It's like, oh, well, that's, Josh Lewin calling that call. And they got there in San Diego for that one.
Right.
It's a joke.
Typically on this show over the last 18 months, the way in which, what was that?
Antonio Gates.
That was Antonio Gates. The way in which we've brought up the Chargers over the last 18 months. And I feel like this is even, it's so stale now. Like the head referee's like, San Diego has won the talk. Who cares? Like this is, by the way, what season is this for them not in San Diego?
Like 7 or 8.
7 seasons.
Yeah. Well, that ship is fully sailed.
It certainly has. It
Yeah.
certainly has. Okay, a couple of things we're going to get to coming up at 4:30. What is the value, the true value of Shohei Ohtani? Okay.
And this isn't us talking.
No.
It's actually calculated by ESPN. And they put out today the true value of what Shohei Ohtani is worth.
Correct.
Which is, wait until you hear these numbers. Oh, my God.
No doubt. Also this hour, your chance to win tickets to see Darius Rucker, Gallagher Square, August 25th. More info at Ticketmaster.com. Next hour, by the way, we have tickets to give away to Duran Duran. Padres tonight, by the way, play early against the Orioles, continuing this 10-game homestand. I'm looking at it like this is
The last stand?
a bit of it. A bit of it. Now, unless everyone lets them back into it. But like we said during the fusion, like I am willing. I have to be willing to do this. I really am. I think it's only reasonable. I have to be willing to give them this homestand. I can't say with them, as we sit here right now, 5 games out, if the Marlins are trailing or lose, right? I can't just say over, finished, sound the alarms. Preller's got to go. Melvin's got to go. What are they going to do? There's plenty of time for that conversation, Jim. October, November, December, right? Plenty of time for that conversation. I think it's reasonable and fair to give them at the least these 8 games to show me something. I might be let down again. I've been let down before in my life.
You work with me every day.
I work with you. Thank you. And we've been let down by the Padres this year a lot. So it may very well happen again. But I think it's okay to give them this homestand to go prove us wrong. Agree or not?
Well, we have no choice. That's the thing.
I know you could put your foot down, Jim. I'd love for you to do it. If you want to say this season's over, they're done, finished, but bye. I'll shave my head if they make the postseason.
No,
you can do it.
I stand firmly, Pat, that it has felt and feels like the season's over, and they have given us plenty of reason to say that. That's where I'm standing. I'm standing pat on that. If they happen to make the postseason, don't worry. I won't come around and say that, oh, well, I told you, because guess what? I'm not that dude. I'll be like, wow, they surprised everybody. Good on them for actually turning this around and proving everybody wrong.
No, you'll be the guy.
No,
okay,
I won't.
here's what you're going to do.
You'll be the guy.
Here's what you're going to do. No, I'm going to tell you, with 42 games left, I have to talk Jim off the ledge of the season's over if they make the postseason, because that'll be an accurate statement. But here's where you are.
There's no talking. It's only action. The only thing that's
Well,
bringing
we
me off the ledge, anything that you say, it's only what they do.
Well, yes, but in the world that we operate in, which is talking,
That is true.
I'm going to talk about it. Now, here's what's going to happen.
Yes.
Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
If the Padres make the postseason and lose in the wild card, there'll be a Jim narrative.
What's my narrative?
I don't even have to say it because it's so obvious. This is still a ridiculous disappointment. They're playing for the 6th seed, 2 games to the Brewers. Give me a break. Okay.
This is what I'll say if that happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know the term lipstick on a pig?
I do.
That to me would feel like lipstick on a pig.
Explain that though. Is that the right usage of that term? Putting lipstick on a pig is making the playoffs and losing in the first round?
To me, it's like dressing up a team and hyping up a team that really, when you look at it, isn't it.
Okay, so the phrase, this is per Wikipedia. Tell me if the phrase to put lipstick on a pig means making superficial or cosmetic changes to a product in a futile effort to disguise its fundamental failings. Is getting into the postseason that?
It would be them. There's like that we know, John. There is fundamental failings inside of this organization from top to bottom that are occurring every single day.
Okay, I might be willing to admit that.
This is not a well-oiled machine here. We know that. Okay, this is an organization that has flaws and it has problems, and it is not considered one of the best organizations run in baseball. Maybe mid to lower tier. Okay. So that is why I would say, if now being 6 games under 500, to your point, right? Hey, stars aligned, miracle run, hit the lottery, they make the postseason, and they lose in the wild card round. I've said this, like that to me, it doesn't change the fact that there's still dysfunction in this organization and dysfunction this whole year. That who says that's just going to automatically now go away?
Okay, so let's say I'll take you down another path. And again, it might be extreme. They win a playoff round.
And they go to the DS?
Right.
I'll say good on them.
And that'll be the end of it?
I still, the only way to me that the dysfunction of this organization is like wiped off is if they win the World Series. There are still things that have to be looked. They're like, hey guys, we can't put ourselves in those positions, like with ego problems and communication problems. We have to fix those problems. But it's a good thing to fix if you win the World Series. But the thing is, like, you make the postseason, you win a round. Okay, do I think that's going to happen? No, but I'm just playing off of your thing here. Right. There is still issues there that the putting lipstick on a pig, I think, still applies.
Well, here's the truth. I mean, at 56 and 63, we're in uncharted territory for all of baseball.
Yeah, they're not a good
team.
team.
And 57 and 63, but like at 56 and 63, if you dig out of that to make something real out of this, like make a postseason run, is literally unheard of. I mean, there was a Braves team that won the World Series that was 52 and 55. This team is further along and worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So this team is well further along and worse. And we can all agree it's more likely than not that they're not going to reach the postseason. I'm just wondering, in the event that they do, because it's this bad National League with the expanded postseason, what's everyone going to say? I know what you're going to say, and that's fine. I generally agree with what you're going to say. I wonder what Padres fans are going to say. Are some people going to see it as, and I don't really fully buy this idea that, you know what, I almost wish they didn't, because it continues the organization down this path. Like if they get in and lose the 2 games to the Brewers, 5-0, 5-1. They get in and they lose 2 games to the Brewers, 5-0 and 5-1 in Milwaukee. And Preller's back and he gets an extent. You know what I mean? Like, you know, are you following a path? Are you following a path that you prefer that, you know what, I kind of just wish they didn't make the postseason and they changed course? And that's hard to say. Like you're asking for your team not to make the postseason because you want your team to make changes because you don't think, you know, this course is right.
Here's the argument that we use a lot on this show: lose a battle to win a war.
Right.
I think this applies pretty, directly to the Padres here. Do we think this team's going to win the World Series this year? No, I don't.
Right.
Are they just kind of playing it out at times? I feel like they are. But to lose this battle of this season, to win the long-term, future of this team might be in the best interest for them. Instead of making this, I'm not going to call it a fake postseason run because it wouldn't be fake. They would have earned it if they made the postseason in a 162 game year after being 6 games under 500 with 42 games remaining in the season. They will have definitely earned it.
Right.
But to tell me that by them doing that, all these problems are fixed, because clearly they're not. Because look what happened last year. They made the NLCS last year, and the problems of 2021 creeped right back into this organization. So that's the whole thinking here is, even with a postseason run, like, it's not going to change the deep-rooted issues that this team has and organization has.
Yeah.
Because 2021, those same flaws and those same problems are right back here in 2023.
Yeah, no, I hear what you are saying, but if you allow me to take you down the path of they are in the postseason, it'd be like, yeah, but they're still flawed, but
Well,
because they didn't make the playoffs in 2021, but they did in 2022 and 23.
I get what
Again, if they make it.
if they,
Which, at this point, I get it. It's unlikely.
I get what you're saying. I just think that 5.5 months of crap potentially.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
To say like this was a good year if they just sneak in the postseason, to me is completely far-fetched.
All I know is the Marlins are losing. That's all I know. All I know is the Marlins are losing to the Astros, and if the Padres, it's an if, beat the Orioles tonight, they're 4.5 games out.
By the way, in our YouTube chat, Miles, he says trading for Choi, Cooper, Hill, and Barlow might be the best example of putting lipstick on a pig.
No, trading for those 4 players is knowing that you've got a real hill to climb, and you're not willing to do more than that because you'd be chasing something that isn't very realistic.
It's putting more dirt on a pig, actually. Not lipstick. Lipstick would be like, shiny object,
honestly,
here to save the day.
It's probably
those aren't shiny objects.
Well, it's actually probably being honest with yourself, because if they went out and tried to trade for like Justin Verlander, you'd be like, "What are you doing?"
But they traded it with the thought that these guys were going to help them, John. They didn't just trade to trade.
No, yeah, but they didn't trade thinking that this was going to be the end all be all or difference.
No, but they traded them to help.
Well, obviously,
and they haven't helped.
But give me a break. We're not going to hold them accountable. We said literally the day off.
I'm not holding them accountable, but at the same time, I'm not saying like their thought process was these guys were bringing in to help us, and they haven't done jack. You know what?
Yeah, okay. First of all, it's been a week and a half, and
and one's on the IL.
We both said that these aren't the type of moves, and the Padres realize this, that are going to overcome needing Xander Bogaerts, needing Joe Musgrove.
I agree.
All right,
they still haven't done it. They still haven't done anything.
On the other side, okay, Shohei Ohtani. What's his true value for his next team? Okay. Also, still ahead, your chance to win tickets to see Darius Rucker. We'll do that during Trainwreck Radio coming up later this hour. Stay with us on John and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres looking for the series win tonight against the Orioles. Blake Snell on the mound for the Padres. 5:40 first pitch tonight at Petco Park. The Astros are currently beating the Marlins 6-2. So John's big if of the day, if the Marlins lose and the Padres win tonight, they'll only 4.5 back with the final wild card spot in the National League playoffs picture. Staples has great prices on all the back-to-school essentials. Now you can save even more with $20 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $50 or more. Rewards members only. Ends 8/19. Redeemable in-store only. School on, save on at Staples.
Real quick, because I have to mention it. I can't go a full day without mentioning realignment, and we didn't talk about it yesterday. Pat 40 today reported that Stanford has reached out, Condoleezza Rice of Stanford has reached out to the ACC to lobby for Stanford's inclusion. George Bush has reached out on SMU's behalf
What's happening
for inclusion in the ACC. I'm not sure
Senior,
which.
junior.
I'm not sure. It's a very good question. That's a very good question.
Only John would know.
I'm going to find
If
out.
it was Condoleezza, I would assume it was junior.
George W.
Okay, yeah. that's
Yes. So Condoleezza Rice and George W. Bush have contacted ACC officials to lobby for ACC invites. And then Brett McMurphy said no word on if Marshawn Lynch has been reaching out for Cal, which is kind of funny.
Isn't that one of those things where though they're already bitching about like, oh, if we would have joined the Big Ten, we would have to go to Michigan once a year. It's like, oh, okay, so now you want to go all the way to the other coast and do ACC?
They just want,
go even
everyone wants to
farther?
be in. It's like a club.
Yeah.
You'd prefer to be in the Power League than
That's
not
what's
in the Power
in.
League. Yeah, don't do that.
I'm sorry.
There goes the F.
Sorry, guys. It's my fault. My fault
There
tonight.
goes the F. You idiot.
Oh, gosh.
Okay, Shohei Ohtani. This is per ESPN's what? True value ranking or something?
It's according to a computer
A computer.
that
Which we all have.
takes someone's value to the sport and assigns them like a contract if they were a free agent.
Okay, so Shohei Ohtani will be a free agent in 6 weeks,
Correct.
potentially, assuming the Angels don't lock him up, which they won't.
They won't.
He'll
He
be
will
a free agent
yes.
at the very least. What does ESPN's computer say Shohei Ohtani is worth?
His contract.
Do we want a
that he
drum
sh-
roll?
We're okay.
Okay.
The contract that the computers think that Shohei Ohtani should get this offseason is a 12-year deal for $789 million.
0.7. 789.7 million, of course. 0.7.
Sorry. $789.7 million.
Which is how much?
$63.5 million per year. Just about.
No, I don't even think that's right. I
Yeah,
thought
it
it was
is.
65.8.
Oh, is I wrong? Why are
You're
you making me?
unbelievable.
Why are you making me do numbers?
We did
Why-
it earlier.
Why did you ask me? I can't
Because
do
I wanna
numbers.
know.
I can't do numbers, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Like
Hold on.
you're supposed to be the number guy. I should have asked you the
but
question.
I can't do 789.7 divided by 12 in my head.
Why not?
79.7 divided by 12 equals. You're such an idiot. 65.8.
Sorry, it's $2 million off per year. But what ESPN is saying, the computers, is Shohei Ohtani is worth a little over $65 million per year.
Now he's 29. So like Bogarts is a 30-year-old, just got 11 years.
Yeah.
No,
it's
is that right?
11 years, yes.
And Machado just got 11 years.
He got a 10-year contract extension on top of this year. So,
Right. Both
Yeah.
got like 11 years as like a 30-year-old,
Right,
essentially.
all right.
So, okay, that's fine. It takes you for Ohtani through age 41. The issue anytime you talk about Shohei Ohtani is how long will he be a two-way player?
That's the big question.
There's no way in years 10, 11, 12 of a deal, age 39, 40, 41, he's effective in both areas, right? I mean, can we all agree on that? There's just no way. Even Shohei Ohtani, the unicorn of all unicorns, like you can't be effective both ways as a 39, 40, and 41-year-old, right?
No.
Can you do as a 38? You have to ask yourself how long you can do this.
And that's how I view all the contracts the Padres have given out. You're not paying to get Machado's 38, 39, and 40 season. You're paying to get his, 32, 33, 34 season. And at the end, it's going to look ugly. But you just hope that the first 5 years of that deal result in some of the best of Manny Machado and potentially, hopefully, a World Series.
Right.
And that's how you would have to view this Ohtani deal. Like the same thing with the Albert Pujols deal when the Angels signed him. And then it got ugly at the end and they had to release him. That's what's going to that's what happens with all these big time contracts. In the end, they're going to either be released by a team or they're just going to sit there and do nothing. Like it's just how it works. And that's the price of business now. And that's how business is done in baseball. These huge contracts that are just over a long period of time to make the AAV smaller so you can get the prime years early in front and then you'll worry about the back later.
Except the Shohei Ohtani deal. Because I don't care how you're going to spend $789.7 million. I don't care how many years it's over. It's $789.7 million. And as good as Shohei Ohtani is, he's a 9-WAR player with 6 weeks left. He'll be an 11-WAR player this year. As good as he is, he's never been in the postseason. That's not to say in the right situation, he couldn't not just be in the postseason, but help a team win in the postseason. It's not to say that at all, but there's a little bit of a leap of faith on a guy that's going to be 30 next year to be effective both ways, even beyond another couple of years for $66 million per year.
Because the dream scenario for anybody that has Shohei Ohtani is what but also can close out, Game 7 of the World Series if needed, which is insane to think about. It's just, it's so hard to get to that point. He might not ever get to that point, ever.
Right.
But like, that's what you're paying for, the hope that if you're in that situation, you have the literal ultimate weapon.
I don't know. Like, is Ohtani, what's amazing is he has sustained it. This is 2-3 years of unbelievable performances.
He will be the unanimous American League MVP this year.
So second time in 3 years. Would have been 3 for 3 if not for Judge's home run total in 2022.
Should have been
Maybe
3 for 3.
Judge AL
Spoiler
all-time home run leader is, I think, impressive.
In American League history?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it not?
No, it's impressive.
I think it is.
But if you're looking at the records for home runs in a season, he was like 4th.
It's still pretty good. In the history of baseball, that's probably MVP caliber. One season is probably MVP caliber.
Right. And some would argue that Ohtani had a better year last year.
Well, you just did.
I know I did.
I lost my train of thought. Ohtani's good. But is he going to be this good even next year? That's a real question. Like, at what point is he not the best player in the sport? And you have to ask yourself, I don't think he's getting this money, by the way. There's no $800 million contract. There's never been a $500 million contract.
Right. This isn't about what people are expecting him to get.
It's his value.
It's just the value of what he's worth. Now, there is one part of this conversation that scares the hell out of me.
What is it? Padres?
No, it's the team in the division,
Dodgers,
that could potentially go after and get Shohei Ohtani, and that's the Dodgers. And that's a scary thing to think about because the Dodgers this offseason, they were very quiet. And everybody we talked to, everybody in the national media was speculating like,
you're right.
Why are they so quiet? Oh, it's because Shohei's a free agent next year, potentially. That makes a lot of sense. So the thought of Shohei Ohtani becoming a Dodger for the next 10 years plus, which is a very, 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 very real possibility.
Yeah.
That scares the hell out of me.
Why? No, I'm just kidding. Listen, the one thing we do know about the Dodgers is this is the situation they are always in.
Yeah.
Right? They double down on rosters, even a year where they didn't spend. They got Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman. It's not like they had nothing. And they weren't going to win 111 games, but look at them now. On pace to win 99, 100 games right now, somehow, with what they've done here in the second half. The idea of San Diego, which we've kind of pushed off, right? We said last trade deadline, stop. We were right. This trade deadline, we're like, stop. It makes no sense. We were right. It wasn't moved, obviously. This offseason, I'm sorry, there is no path with this team not making the postseason. When he's saying, because we know he's going to get paid.
He will.
But when he's saying, I have to win, and it's about more than money. And by the way, Padres have missed out on free agents in the last year when they have won. Trey Turner, Aaron Judge, right? They got their third choice in the big spend this offseason is Xander Bogaerts. If not worse, we don't know.
Yeah.
So
and that is also going back to the like Preller argument here. Preller, he goes after the shiny objects. He goes after talent. He goes after the big talent instead of what's going to fit best with your team. And as far as roster construction goes, can you build a cohesive roster? Like that's the big thing is if you go get Shohei, I think Shohei would fit it with anybody.
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to sell.
But
I
also said I thought I would think Xander Bogaerts would fit.
Well,
too.
what if you had a chance to go back and so you know what, the Bogaerts thing? Let's wait on this offseason. Let's go at it with what we have.
You want to play hindsight?
My shortstop.
Let's play hindsight.
Well, yeah, because let's treat the offseason like the Dodgers did. Save on the big spend right now under the premise that maybe it sets you up to be in a better spot next offseason. Now, again, I'm not saying that means they land Shohei Ohtani. Would they be potentially better positioned to do it? I'm not certain of it, but it does seem like with all the long-term deals, it makes it that much harder for the Padres, even if right now they were 70 and 40. It just seems like with all the money they've tied up in 2024 and beyond, it seems less likely because of that.
I 100% agree. And if we're playing the hindsight game,
we're playing it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not signing Bogaerts. That's the hindsight.
So you ruined his press conference, and now you don't want to sign him.
I'm just looking at it long term. Like it was great in the moment, and we were all excited about it. We just didn't realize that potentially the egos in the room and the big personalities and all of that was gonna not mesh well together. Didn't realize it.
Ohtani or Bogaerts?
Give me a break. Ohtani, he's a special player. Don't get me wrong, but like has not been on a team that's made the postseason ever in his career, and it just shows you how important roster construction is in baseball. If you can't have the literal best player by a mile in the game, not even sniff the postseason, that goes to roster construction. And Preller is not good at building a cohesive roster.
Imagine if his first year here, he's got like a 4.71 and hits 214.
You know he would. You know what would happen. It would 100% happen, John.
I know. We'd all be freaking out.
Yeah,
all right,
would.
call right now if you want a pair of free tickets to see Darius Rucker at Gallagher Square August 25th outside Petco Park. More info at Ticketmaster.com. First two callers to 844-570-1360 will be our contestants on Trainwreck Radio, which is trivia. Call right now if you want a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Darius Rucker, Gallagher Square August 25th in 9 days. More info at Ticketmaster.com. The number to call, great giveaway, 844-570-1360. First two callers will be contestants for Trainwreck Radio. That's next. John and Jim. All right, your run. Let me start over.
Wait, what?
Your run reason why is what I was saying. Your
Your
one reason
reason why?
Give us your one reason why the Padres can still make the postseason. We'll get back to that coming up at 5 p.m. Jim's back page still ahead. We're going to give away tickets to see Duran Duran in the 5 o'clock hour, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, August 22nd. More info at Ticketmaster.com. All right, let's get right to it.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Pete and we have John. Pete, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
John.
All right, thank you, Pete.
All right,
Go.
so that means John gets me, Jim. So
Correct.
John has Jim, Pete has John.
Just stop talking. You're going to confuse yourself.
Yes.
I'm already thoroughly confused as it is.
I know, we can tell.
Okay. What's the question, Brent?
All right, guys, we're going to shift from NFL to college hoops today. Today, I'm going to need you to name the 10 schools with the most combined NCAA tournament appearances. And this includes both the men's and women's programs combined. So we're looking for schools with the men's and women's programs combined that have the most combined tournament appearances.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. So John's up first. John, what is your first guess? And you do have your lifeline, which is me if you choose to use it.
I'm going to say UConn.
UConn. That's a
University of
very good
Connecticut. I don't
guess.
know.
Yeah, on the list. On the list.
I don't know about their women's program. Did they ever make it?
They've made it a couple years.
Yeah.
Couple
But their
years.
men just won.
all the time. Yeah.
Actually, unfortunately.
Very unfortunately. Pete, you're up next. What is your first guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
Yeah, let's go with a lifeline first.
Oh, right off the bat, lifeline.
Right off the bat, I mean, there's a couple that
Because UConn was my top guess.
that was your top pick. I'll give you, I mean, UNC has to be on this, right?
North Carolina, you take it?
Take North Carolina, Pete?
Yes.
Okay, on the
On
list.
the list,
I don't know a ton actually about their women's program, but the men are so consistent.
John, you're up next. What is your second guess? You do have your lifeline if you choose to use it.
I'm going to go with Duke.
Duke
Dude,
on the list.
good guess.
Pete, back to you, buddy. What's your second guess? You don't have your lifeline now, so this is all to you.
Let's go with Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tennessee on the list? Nice. Based on their
Wow.
women's program,
Yeah.
probably.
Back to
Hello?
what?
Where are we?
Back to John.
Hello? Tennessee?
Yeah, Tennessee was correct.
Yeah, Tennessee was correct. Don't worry. John, what's your final guess? You do have your lifeline.
Ooh. Do I trust Jim?
Turn your,
Turn your radio down.
radio down.
Yeah, I'm going to say. I'm going to say Kentucky.
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 On
Yep.
the list. There we go. All right, Pete, you need this to send us to overtime. You don't have your lifeline, so it's all to you. And
Turn your radio down. I remember my
down.
first time on the radio.
Brett's going to literally go through the mic and punch you.
Who is it?
Oh, Kentucky, North Carolina.
5 seconds, Pete.
Oh, gosh. UCLA.
UCLA.
Great guess. Should be on the list. Yep.
On the
Great
list.
guess.
Wow. Coming at the buzzer
Yeah.
to send this
Yeah.
thing to overtime. Brent, give us the rules of overtime and the question.
All right, the way overtime is going to work, guys, is I'm going to ask you a question. And when I'm done asking the question, you are going to yell at the name of your teammate today. So don't yell the answer. Yell whoever your teammate was. So you're going to yell either John or Jim. Whoever yells out the name of their teammate first, you are going to win the game by getting the question right, or you're going to lose the game by getting the question wrong. Do you guys got it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, today's overtime question. Who won the national title game last year?
Jim.
I heard Jim.
All right, John, what do you got?
That is John.
UConn.
For the win. Wow.
Womp,
Team Jim with John.
womp.
Victorious.
I felt the like angst, the pain of like, UConn.
By the way, during the contest, I get a text from Jonathan Rifkin because it was like, UConn, like women. He's like, UConn's women's program is one of the most dominant ever. 11 national championships, including 2013 through 16. I'm like, yeah, I know.
Do you know that GIF?
Thanks for the no S files, J-Ref.
You know,
He thought I was serious.
You know the GIF or the GIF on Twitter? It's like the joke, and it's like flying over that person's head.
Like, dude, I mean,
congratulations, Jonathan. You are the person that the joke over
honestly,
the head.
it is amazing how good they've been.
No, they've been amazing
in both.
I know,
men's
both.
and women's. That is pretty.
How many
incredible.
total national championships have they
Well,
won?
11 for the women and 5 for the men. 16 in basketball. That's a big number. Who else is on this list? Top 10 combined tournament appearances. We named 6 of them.
Okay, Carolina was number 1 with 82. Kentucky was number 2. Texas was 3.
Texas.
Duke was 4. UConn 5. UCLA was 6. Tennessee was 7. Kansas.
Okay.
Hello, they were 8.
Duh.
This one was kind of surprising, but Notre Dame was 8.
Interesting.
Wow. Well, the women's
program's
program is
great.
really
Women's
good.
program's
Yeah.
pretty good. And then Louisville was number 10.
Also a great women's program and great men's program historically, obviously, at Louisville. That makes sense. All right, hour number 3 of John and Jim on the other side. By the way, congratulations to John. You just won a pair of tickets to see Darius Rucker. This is at Gallagher Square, August 25th. More info at Ticketmaster.com. Next hour, your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Duran Duran at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater on August 22nd. And coming up next, your reason why the Padres can still reach the postseason in 2023.
You mean your reason?
Anyone's reason. 844-570-1360. 70470. Start it with team. It's hour 3 of John and Jim, and it's next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, third and final game of their 3-game series with the Orioles. Blake Snell on the mound for the Padres as they're looking to win the series, as they will then head to take on Arizona tomorrow for a 4-game series, and then Miami next week to finish up their 10-game homestand. Right now, the Marlins are currently losing to the Astros. The Astros win tonight and the Padres win tonight. That means the Padres will be 4.5 games back of the final wild card spot in the National League. Staples has great prices on all things back to school essentials. Now you can save even more with $20 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $50 or more. Rewards members only, ends 8/19. Redeemable in-store only. School on, save on at Staples.
All right, San Diego, Southern California, what's going on? It's hour 3 of John and Jim. This hour, by the way, your chance to win tickets to see Duran Duran. Jim's back page is still ahead. We're about to hear from Bob Melvin, by the way, pregame today against the Orioles. Now, we're new on YouTube. Not really.
No, we're not new. We've been on YouTube for 2+ years.
But John and Jim have only been on YouTube for 6 shows.
For 6 shows, yeah. We are in our 6th show. I think this time last week, we only had 1 show under our belt because we started last Tuesday.
Correct.
But if you want to go check us out on YouTube, we would love that. Go to John and Jim 760, subscribe there. You can watch us while we do our radio show. You can also listen to the radio show there. There's multiple ways here. You can listen on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen on the radio at Sports 760. You can now watch us on YouTube every day.
Why are we still at a break on YouTube?
Oh, my bad.
See, so again, we're new here.
We're new here.
But okay, so here's the thing. For whatever reason, because, this happens on the wrap-up show, you have Padres fans, obviously, then you have Dodger trolls, and we have some trolls in the chat today on YouTube. And there was this one, guy trolling. I'm like, whatever. I'm trying to do a show. Dodger fan trolling. I'm like, listen, if you continue down this path, I'm gonna put you in timeout. There's a way to put someone in a timeout, and then eventually there's a way to ban someone as well. So he said something stupid about, you can't put me in the timeout. Like, the Padres are in timeout from the postseason. I meant to then put him in a timeout, but I banned him.
Because you don't know how to work technology.
I just didn't care. You know what? Who cares? Right?
There's going to be a 0% chance that you can do this on your own when I'm gone.
Right. That's the problem. Exactly.
0% chance.
I think I can do it.
No, you can't. When I'm gone, there's no streams.
Potentially.
When I'm gone, there's no streams at all because I just don't trust you with technology. I don't.
Dude, wrap-up show last night.
Because you've done it for so long, and it's literally like Jones could do it. It's so easy.
It's hilarious. Do we have Bob Melvin, or we will have Bob Melvin? Okay,
Yeah.
We're going to hear from Bob Melvin in a moment.
And Bob Melvin is talking about things that we started talking about today.
Dodger trolls?
Not Dodger trolls.
Yeah, why? Give me a reason why.
This
why
turns
is
around.
it now doable when it hasn't been doable for 120 games, other than the fact that the Astros are leading the Marlins? Is that our hope to get to the postseason? And maybe the Marlins lose a lot, and the Reds lose a lot, and the Cubs lose a lot. Here's Bob Melvin pregame today. Why this time is potentially different?
Well, I think you come with that anyway. You know that mindset anyway. Each and every day, you come with the intent to win, the expectation to win. We haven't been great about it this year in these type of scenarios. We talk about it all the time. What's it going to look like? What do we need to do a little bit differently as far as our pregame? But it's breaking through, and hopefully tonight's one of those nights.
Tim Hill get closer to that bullpen?
Yeah, I think he's still throwing with the tape on his finger, and he's not going to be able to do that. So it's feeling maybe about the same right now. So at some point in time, might have to make a decision that he might have to pitch a little bit banged up, but still hasn't gotten off a mound and thrown a bullpen yet with breaking balls and so forth. So maybe we're a little ways away from that yet.
Okay, so the main thing there wasn't about Tim Hill. Yeah.
It was Tim Hill's breaking balls.
It was this belief, or why do you believe that this is going to turn around when every single time that you've had a game like last night, you come out and you basically do the complete opposite of that?
Not every, because Kevin broke it down.
Almost
it's
every.
Half the time. Half the time this year, they've had a big run total. They've backed it up with 0 or 1 runs.
Right.
in the next game. So that's half the time, which is a big number. Now, in listening to Melvin there, I wasn't overly convinced.
No,
I didn't hear
either.
it is different, and here is why.
I hope so.
I'm telling you it's different. It's a 10-game homestand. We truly believe now that we're within 5.5 games, and now that the Marlins are losing to the Astros today, we really believe it's going to be different, and we love the way Blake Snell is pitching, and we got Michael Wacha back. Like, I heard a guy, he's a very measured manager. I give him credit for it. He's not a too high, too low guy. I thought he did well enough with his team a year ago in the regular season to put him in position because they got off to that really good start. They were a 500 team for a long period of time, but he did play a role down the stretch in helping that team get to the postseason. He's been measured for me, but I don't know. It's like, for whatever reason, Allen Sliwa said it earlier, to some extent, it feels like the message is being lost a little bit on the team because he's been trying different ways. He's been calling out his team. He's been nice. He hasn't. He's been loud. He's been quiet. And for whatever reason, whatever he has said just has not gotten through.
And with Jace Tingler, when his message definitely wasn't being received, I put that on Tingler because Tingler did not know how to run a clubhouse. Tingler was the puppet for AJ Preller. There was a reason why his message was not being received by the team. I think of the complete opposite when I think of Bob Melvin.
Okay.
I put this on the players not receiving the message from Bob. Not that like Bob is this, guy that doesn't know what he's talking about, because he definitely is. He is one of the most respected baseball people there is, right? I said this yesterday. If Bob Melvin gets fired, there are going to be a handful of teams lining up at his door wanting to hire him next season. I guarantee it. Will he manage next year? I don't know, but there will be teams calling him, wanting him to be the manager.
Yeah, I agree.
So, man, my allergies are really bad today. So,
comments from every day.
Dude, it's so, this weather is just really
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's been awful. Oh, my gosh. Today, I want to say it was like 74 with a breeze. Just off this weather.
You should move to like Antarctica or something.
This weather? What kind of line is that?
So that might have been the softest thing I've ever said in my life.
This weather? It's been like the nicest August in American history. Here. This weather.
I know. I'm soft. I admit it. I'm soft.
You're so soft.
What was I saying? Messages received and not received. I don't put it on Melvin. I put it on the players.
Okay, here's what I want to say, because there's people that are at 70470 started with team. There's people in the chat here on YouTube saying, guys, like, give it up. They're 2 games better than the Mets, and you're telling me how they're going to make the postseason.
We're not saying that they're going to make the postseason.
No, I'm asking you for a reason why they may make the postseason. We did that earlier, and now you're hearing from Bob Melvin on why now may be different. I'm just saying this. Fair point is heard. They're 2.5 games better than the Mets. Mets aren't making the postseason, obviously. So why are the Padres? Let me just say this. Nobody has captured this thing. Nobody's just running with it. Chicago, the Cubs have played better. Cubs have had a nice 4-week stretch. Not perfect, but a nice 4-week stretch. Outside of that, these teams have not been good. The Arizonas, the Cincinnatis, the Miamis, Marlins at last check tonight, 5.5 games better than the Padres. We're losing to the Astros. I assume they still are. All I'm saying is this: facts are facts. If the Padres win tonight, if in bold, capitalized, but if they win tonight, they do have Blake Snell on the mound as a -180 favorite at home. They're 4.5 games out of a playoff spot. And don't tell me then that we should be talking about the offseason solely. We could talk about the offseason, but you can't tell me we're talking about the offseason solely if they're 4.5 games out with a month and a half to play.
Yeah.
That's my point.
No, I agree. It's just like it's hard because we know what this team is and how they have performed. And it's like, dude, it's hard for me to give hope when I know that this team has just failed everybody at every single turn. When there was an opportunity to get finally back to 500, they lost 3 in a row.
And then 4 in a row.
Yeah.
Right.
And then when they were, I think, 3.5 games back, they lost and went to 6 back or 5 back or whatever it was. Like, they just have not been able to get there and over the hump at all this year. And then with comments saying that they give up on games when they go down by however many runs, like, How do we not think that that's going to happen more this year where they give up? In case in point, it happened just the other night on Monday. They went down 4-0. That game was over. Done. No fight, nothing. Done.
Gave up, though. 844-570-1360 if you want to weigh in. They brought the tying run to the plate in the ninth inning. 916 off the text line says, one reason we don't play Carpenter, this isn't a reason why the Padres could make the postseason potentially this year. What do you guys think? We can get to the calls here. 844-570-1360. Give me a reason why you believe the Padres could make the postseason, or is this just a completely failed exercise? There's no path. It's not no path. Fangraph says 20%, so why can't I say there's at least a chance?
Well, and real quick, there's a big difference too between saying that they could still make the playoffs and saying that they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, I don't think any of us three are saying that we think they're gonna make the playoffs.
Right.
But technically they still could. So, there's a difference.
Thank you
for everyone saying that, oh, no, now they're gonna we never said they're gonna make the playoffs. We just said they still could.
Yeah, exactly. There's a complete difference. And people are saying that like we're hedging. Like, give me a break. Stop it. We're not hedging. All right. We're telling you facts. And those are the facts. And we tell you what we believe. And what we believe is I don't believe this team will make the postseason this year. But like Brent just said,
but I'll give you a reason why they could.
Right. There's a fact there that they're still technically in it.
844-570-1360. Let's go to Darren on line 4. Darren, welcome back to John and Jim.
Gentlemen, how are we this afternoon?
How are you, man?
Not too bad, guys. So to touch on your guys' point, you're absolutely right. It is totally mathematically 1,000% possible that the Padres do make the playoffs. And they could technically even do it as better than the 6th seed, too. I mean, if we're really getting into the numbers aspect of it. The fact of the matter is, though, as far as I know, there's only one big league team whose superstar player, or at least one of their superstars, came out and said, yeah, we kind of just give up a lot in games, before games, during series. So to me, if you're going to believe in a team to come back and make a run, I'm just not going to put all my chips on the team that says, yeah, we want to win, but we really don't care that much to win, so we kind of just give up. To me, it's a slap in the face to fans. And honestly, I know we've been talking a little bit about the attendance or lack thereof the past couple games. I love it. The team has given up on the fans. The fans have finally gotten sick of it. So now they want us for this stretch run. We'll go on a run, and then we'll get back in the stands, and then we'll see if we can have a run in October again.
Darren, thank you. I mean, listen, I'm all for Padres fans showing up to Petco Park. I would never advocate not to do that. I would never advocate not to do that. With that being said, I do understand not selling out Monday and Tuesday night against the Orioles, considering where they were coming into the series.
The only time I would ever advocate for fans to not go to a ballpark is if they were the Oakland A's situation, or like, the Chargers situation where they're like trying to move their team out of town. That's the only time I would advocate. Fans do not support this owner.
Right. I mean, Peter Seidler has been really good to San Diegans.
Amazing.
Has it been perfect? Maybe not. Yeah. But he's been very good to San Diegans with this level of spending. I think they do deserve the support. Now, have they lived up to it? No. I mean, they haven't performed for a very loyal group. There's no question about it. San Diegans are over the moon still about this team, despite the fact that they're 6 games under 500. There's 35,000 people on a Tuesday night against the Baltimore Orioles, who are good. But, like, come on. I mean, Baltimore's not drawing 35,000 at home right now. At Camden Yards, they're 28 games over 500.
The only thing, the entire upper deck at Camden Yards is empty.
I know. Now they'll draw, they've drawn better.
They'll make the postseason this year, and then they'll have sellouts.
They'll sell games out. But it's like, Padres fans have been incredibly loyal, and that's a compliment. I mean, and Darren, I understand the point. Like, hey, you got to show us something before we show up for you.
Yep.
But, like, you want to see the Padres with spending power in 2024 and beyond. And I think this fan base is a reason why that may happen. So I say continue to go and continue to support. And we'll see what happens at the end of the year. And we've been critical, but I'm not going to say, hey, listen, it's not worth you spending your time and money at Petco Park because the way the team has performed. Because I don't think that's fair to Peter Seidler, to be honest.
Me and you, we still do wrap-up shows after most all games. We're still here every day from 3 to 6. What
if we just didn't show up? Like, this is our job.
That's basically what, some people might be saying. Like, well, if fans don't show up, so I guess we shouldn't show up either. Like, no, we're showing up. We're showing up because whether this thing crashes in a blaze of fire or somehow they managed to cross the finish line with a messed up car, like we're going to wait to see what happens.
No doubt.
And we'll be there.
And that's why I go back to like the original point from today, which is like, listen, it's their last homestand. I mean, it's 10 games. It's their longest of the year. After this is like another 12 or 14 home games all season. It's like, I have to at least, we've seen it through for 120 games. Why not at least give them this homestand? If they don't earn it here, if they go 5-5 over these 10 games, Jim, or 4-6, then that's who they are. And we can now go down the path of what needs to happen in the offseason.
If they enter, if on September 1st, they are still 5.5 or 6.5 games out. I mean, that's tough.
It'll be tough. That would be tough.
That'd be very tough.
But I'm saying I can at least give them the next 8 days. I get it. It's an if, but it's literally 8 days. If they win tonight, if they can win series over the next week against Arizona and Miami, then maybe this thing looks different. I get it. 120 games hasn't been good. Maybe it's not going to change. To Darren's point, I mean, what Juan Soto said, maybe that was a look inside the psyche of the team, that they just don't have what is necessary.
619 number on the text line. Text us 70470. Start your message with team. He says, Jim, if the players are not receiving the message of the manager and you can't get rid of the players, what is the point of the manager? Even if it's not his fault, he's not effective. Why is he here?
Called you out.
He did. And I agree with it, but I hate it because at some point, if these managers that are being brought in here aren't receiving the message, then what's going to happen? Like you got Andy Green fired. Now is Andy Green did you expect Andy Green to lead this team in the future? Probably not.
Right.
Jace Tingler got fired, and now Bob Melvin's likely going to be fired or released or whatever the case may be. To me, that's not a manager problem. That's like a player's problem / GM problem.
Sure.
If you can't get somebody in here to make things right for more than just a season.
Okay, I agree with you. I go back to what Allen Sliwa said earlier today at 3:30 with us, which is like, yeah, all of that is true, but it's like this is how professional sports and even sometimes college sports, but definitely professional sports work. It's completely what have you done for me lately? They are highly public positions with high salaries, and they turn over constantly. I'm not saying I'm a proponent of that fact, but this is what happens. Head coaches, managers, if you do not win, then they are going to be expendable across all sports, NFL, NBA, NHL. I mean, constantly. This is just the business. Bob Melvin is paid handsomely. I don't know the number. I think someone theorized yesterday with us, Scott Miller, maybe $4 million a year. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you're paid $4 million a year, Jim, and your team misses out on the postseason with this payroll, I think he might be willing to say, I was part of a collective issue. Okay. If I need to go at $4 million a year, and listen, I was part of a team that didn't get to the postseason. I thought we should have. I'm accountable too. I mean, I guess my point is this, is it that ridiculous to let go of Bob Melvin? There's others accountable too. But if they don't make the postseason, isn't he part of that? Part of not getting there?
No, he's part of it, but I think it'd be also ridiculous if they did it.
Ridiculous?
Yeah, it would. 619.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I do.
Ridiculous to get rid of Bob Melvin if this team misses the postseason. When NFL head coaches get fired constantly, when NBA head coaches who coach in NBA finals get fired in the postseason, but this would be ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's pretty easy to see here that yes, Bob Melvin is a part of the blame here, but this is nowhere near a Jace Tingler situation. This is a player's situation, an ego situation running wild, and a GM situation that doesn't mesh well with the manager.
I mean, but okay, if it's an ego issue, he's there 180 straight days with this team. I mean, you can't get them in check as this
sometimes
highly skilled.
Sometimes you can do everything you possibly can, and it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not saying this by any means. I'm not saying this at all. But do you think Manny Machado is like, I'm Manny Machado? Like, really? Don't want me to listen? Am I going to listen to you?
Well, I
Give me a break.
kind of. I mean, didn't we say a year ago like they had a pretty good rapport? We
I
were
thought they
led to believe.
did. Now I don't know if they do still, but it's kind of crazy to me how all of a sudden, just a year later, it's Bob Melvin's fault, so he's got to get fired. That's crazy to me.
Mike, whatever the guy's name is in Milwaukee, gets
Who?
fired.
Who?
Budenholzer. And this happens in all sports
Yeah.
with guys that have more accomplishments in their positions than even Bob Melvin.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
But that's not the only example. I mean, someone give me a list of head coaches that are fired within a year of appearing in the NBA Finals. Lakers have done it. A lot of teams.
I just will always go back to 2021 when Bob Melvin was hired. It's saying that if it doesn't work with Bob Melvin, it's not going to work with anybody. So everyone's got to go.
That's right. That's
how I view it.
Right. I know. I just don't know if we'll see. All right. More on that on the other side. Plus, here's what we're going to do. We're going to give away tickets to Duran Duran coming up in the next 15 minutes. Duran Duran, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is August 22nd. More info at Ticketmaster.com. Plus Jim's back page. Stay with us on John and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Staples Stores. Padres, third and final game of their series versus the Orioles. 5:40 first pitch. Blake Snell on the mound for the Padres. The Padres looking for the series win. Next up for the Padres, they'll take on the D-backs for a 4-game series this weekend at Petco Park. Staples has great prices on all the back-to-school essentials. Now you can save even more with $20 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $50 or more. Rewards members only. Ends 8/19. Redeemable in-store only. School on, save on at Staples.
So remember, my whole premise on the Padres making the postseason is basically the Marlins lose tonight to the. That's like my whole premise.
It's the whole show.
Like the whole show is like, you know what, the Marlins might lose.
So the
because they're
Padres
down
might win and they might be 4.5 back.
Exactly. Like yesterday, you're like, hey, this may happen. So that's the whole premise basically of today's show. And the Marlins go down 5-0 in the top of the first inning against Houston, defending world champs. Like, this game's over. There's no way Miami in that pitcher's ballpark of whatever it's called, Home Depot Field or something, is winning this game. There's just no way. Well, from 5-0 down, the Marlins have pulled to within 6-5 in the top of the 6th inning. So everything I've said today, disregard if the Marlins win.
Also, Verlander was on the mound too.
Well, was he?
Yeah, making his, I think, second start with the Astros.
For the Astros. So we'll see. But again, if Houston holds on, it's an if. If Blake Snell pitches like Blake Snell, it's an if.
Well, I already said this at the start of the show. If this does not turn out like how you wanted to, how you've been talking about all day, it's your fault.
And
it's 100% your fault.
Yeah, I agree.
You're like, the Astros, 5-0 lead.
Right.
The Marlins, they're not going to win this game. Padres, they're going to win tonight with Blake Snell on the mound. 4.5 back tomorrow. Let's go.
Correct.
I can't breathe.
By the way, Jim is so annoying, which is always the case. But from 3 p.m. on, he started the show by sneezing, and now it's just going completely downhill. He's sniffling constantly.
You didn't even have to elaborate. You could have just ended it. Jim is so annoying.
Dude, I can't stop sniffling.
I know, and it's
the worst.
I'm glad you chose to be a sports post.
Me too. I'm so happy I did this.
Jim's like, I hate talking, and I can never speak, and I don't know how to read or write.
The second I have like a sneeze and attack or my allergies get mixed up, I'm done. I'm over. It's over with. It's over with me. I can't stop. It's a disaster. It's a train wreck. Welcome to Trainwreck Radio.
Duran tickets we'll give away in the next 5 minutes. Be listening. We'll let you know when to call. Pair of tickets to see Duran, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is August 22nd. More info at Ticketmaster.com. Jim's back page ahead in about 10 or 15 minutes. Game 3 tonight. We can look ahead to this thing. Blake Snell back of the mound. We've told you that Blake Snell, if the season ended today, he may very well win the National League Cy Young. Even if it didn't end today, the way he's thrown here recently, he may in fact win the National League Cy Young. Padres are heavy favorites tonight against, again, a Baltimore team that's been incredible. Let me just pull this up. When this started for Snell, May 25th, Jim, okay?
Okay.
So he was coming off an out against Boston. I don't even remember this. 4 innings, 6 runs, May 19th. Who the hell knows?
Sure.
So from that point on, 15 starts ago, 1.16 ERA.
Is that good?
15 starts. He's had a 1.16. 15 starts. So what we said, I think, the last time he was on the mound, or maybe even 2 times ago, like, this is the win day.
It is.
You have to win with Blake Snell on the mound. And that obviously includes today trying to win a rubber match and win a series.
And with even how good he has been, this team is still 6 games under 500, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So you have to win when Snell's out there. I think the stat was Musgrove and Snell, the team was 15-7 in their starts until Musgrove got hurt, right?
Right.
Oh, dude,
you are the worst.
I literally can't even talk right now.
By the way, Ryan Weathers was shipped off to Miami. So how about this? I worked in the minor leagues, right?
What?
15 years.
I didn't know that.
I left during my 15th season. So I get a DM in the last 10 minutes
from Ryan Weathers?
From Steve. Steve Pelly. Okay. And he's like, dude, I thought I escaped Ryan Weathers. He's pitching for the Iron Pigs tonight. Or excuse me, against the Iron Pigs tonight in Allentown.
Wow.
And now he's just sent me a photo. Ryan Weathers, Coca-Cola Park, Allentown, Pennsylvania. So he's pitching in AAA, by the way.
So he's not even in the big leagues.
He's not in the big leagues. But I think he was there briefly after the trade. Potentially.
Was he?
I think he was.
I don't know. Maybe. I will laugh if he pitches against the Padres next week.
He, by the way, made listen to this, one relief appearance for the Marlins.
Okay.
3 2/3 innings.
How many runs?
6 runs. An ERA of 14.73. So it just has not gone well for Ryan Weathers. You're right, though. Knowing their luck, if everything about what I've said today is wrong, then Ryan Weathers pitches here next week and goes 6 innings of 1-run baseball and 2 hits.
Ryan Weathers, just brutal.
I know. And again, that speaks to where you have been, where you're like, listen, if you're getting rid of Melvin, you're not getting rid of like the root cause.
Right.
Preller's been the guy picking in the top 10 for a decade. None of this has worked.
Yeah, it wasn't Melvin's fault that he had to pitch Ryan Weathers for games this year.
True. You're right. And AJ Preller had plenty of chances with top 10 picks to get some pieces that would help this team in the big leagues, and that has not happened to this point.
Nope, not one.
Now, again, and we don't know. Some of these younger guys, like who are recent examples? Jackson Merrill is a top 10 pick. Dylan Lesko's a top 10 pick. Ethan Sal's international free agent.
Robbie Snelling was not a top.
He was a high pick.
He was a high pick,
maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But the record would stand that, hey, Preller has been able to spin off some of those pieces in trades, but he has not been able to draft and get those guys to the big leagues to help the Padres. And that includes Ryan Weathers.
Yeah. No, it's just insane to me. Like, you've gone a decade and you haven't drafted one single competent starting pitcher.
And that's why I do agree. Well, I don't know if I'd go as far as say, hey, getting rid of Melvin would be ridiculous. I do agree. It does not get rid of the issue. It's kind of like you're killing ants, but where are the ants coming from? Why are you just killing the ants on your counter when there's like a long, I don't know, run of ants that are actually coming from outside your home? Like killing them on the counter is not going to be the ants. You need to get them like a point.
Want to hear my analogy? It's grosser than yours. Ready for this?
No, I don't want to hear it. I'm going to cover my ears.
It's like a pimple, right? It's like a pimple that you pop and all this pus comes out, and then you think it's gone, but the root of the pimple is still in there.
You're so disgusting, dude.
And you like let it be, but it's still like growing on you and it still hurts.
What?
And you're like, I thought I just popped this pimple. What's happening? Why all this pus coming out? And there's like this little root in there that you need to get out to get the whole thing out and go away.
How do you apply for jobs here? We got an email about it.
Should I start applying? Because that analogy might get me fired. Actually, by
It's
who?
not.
No one's firing. Yeah.
It's really not. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Jim's back page on the other side.
Everyone's like,
by the way, we were theorizing that I can't even deal with you. Do you I seriously can't deal with you. I need can you take tomorrow off?
Okay.
So just say you're sick.
I am sick.
Call right now. Caller 3. You've got a pair of tickets to see Duran Duran. North Island Credit Union Amphitheater, August 22nd, 844-570-1360. 844-570-1360. 2 free tickets, Duran Duran, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. This is coming up August 22nd, less than a week away. More info at Ticketmaster.com. Call right now, 844-570-1360. On the other side, Jim's back page. Stay with us. Jim's back page next. Jim just told me, Brent, I kid you not. I'll get to the back page in a second. He's complaining about like coughing, sneezing, allergies. He's like, it's because it's going to rain on Monday. And I look at him and say, it's Wednesday. Your body is like 110 hours ahead of like weather systems.
What do you think you are? One of
I'm
those,
like,
you're one of those
yeah,
old timey.
I know
Oh,
my body. I can't even.
I know he had to put his headphones in so he knew he was talking, so he knew to shut up.
Yeah.
You're just like one of those old timey farmers. That's like, oh, it's gonna rain on Wednesday. My knees twitching.
Right. Exactly. So far in this hour, Jim has said, man, this weather, when it's like 75
it's
every day.
Perfect weather.
It's been spectacular. And now he said it's because it's supposed to rain on Monday. Like Monday. It's Wednesday. So you get, I mean, dude, I can't deal with you. By the way, everything I said today is out the window if the Padres lose, and they're losing right now. So if you're listening to the podcast, sorry.
Also, the Astros winning still?
Yes. In the 7th inning, 6-5. I do enjoy scoreboard watching. I just wish they gave us a reason to do more scoreboard watching. Because you're going to have to win some series for me to truly watch the scoreboard. Please, let's get to 6 p.m. Let's get to the back page because Jim is like dying. Put in for like an extended absence, like 6 months, and go see allergy specialists around the world.
Put in for maternity leave.
Yeah, put in for something, some leave.
Just like leave.
Just put in something in your insurance. There's something that'll give you like 8 weeks. Just take 8 weeks. And then he'll come back and be like, this Padres team, I told you they weren't going to make the playoffs. And they didn't. They'll just kill him.
I told you so. I told you so. Duncan Jones.
What?
Duncan
Jones?
Duncan Jonuts.
Dunkin' Donuts, yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts has released their fall pumpkin spice signature menu items.
Bro, it's August. You know, I'm saying from a Dunkin' Donuts perspective, isn't that a little early?
Dude, the second it gets like into August, it's like Here we
August,
go.
man. They push
That's
everything.
Give me the
up
fall
on
pumpkin
us.
spice items.
If you're like a Boston Dunkin', no,
I
because
agree.
it's gonna
It's gonna get
places
cooler,
other
yeah.
than here, it's gonna start to get cold.
Okay, and school's back. I get
Yeah.
it, but it's August. So
Why,
anyway,
do you
what's
hate,
this-
why do you hate pumpkin
I
spice?
like it a
John?
lot, but August.
All right. So on the menu, you will find the classic pumpkin spice signature latte, a nutty pumpkin coffee, and a pumpkin swirl, dubbed the Dunkin's most sought after flavor. All three drinks are available iced or hot and feature the taste of sweet pumpkin along with other popular coffee flavors.
Okay.
So check out those. All pumpkin spice items will be available in September.
Oh, in September. Okay, that's better
Yes, but they've released the items like as far as what will be coming.
to get us hyped up.
Yeah, of
Okay.
course. And they have pumpkin donuts, spice donuts. They have pumpkin
like that.
spice cupcakes.
Okay,
So get ready for all the pumpkin spice
I'm ready.
at Dunkin' Donuts. The other day, oh no,
Oh my gosh, you're gonna sneeze during Backpage? Just do it, Brent.
okay, I'm okay,
Bless you, Jim.
I'm okay. Last week, I said on the back page that Apple and its new iOS update was going to be moving
Yeah.
the I don't know, end call button,
The red circle.
the red circle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, images of the latest iOS 17 beta
Mm-hmm.
shows that the red button is actually back in the center.
Oh, interesting.
So
Maybe
they
they got
might have
criticism.
heard the backlash
Yeah.
and thought, yeah, this is probably a bad idea. It doesn't make any sense. Why are we doing this? No one's going
Right.
to like it. Everyone's going to complain.
Yes. And that's exactly what we did. By the way, shouldn't a new iPhone be coming out at some point in
The iPhone 15,
September?
September, yes.
Okay.
It'll be coming out in September. So I don't know what the big difference of it is going to be,
I
but
feel like there hasn't been a big difference for a while, right?
About $400.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, exactly the price of it all. And finally, Eggo's is releasing a brunch in a jar liqueur for
Go
boozy
on.
breakfasts.
Wow.
So, Eggo brunch in a jar, waffles and syrup sip and cream, has a 20% alcohol by volume beverage aimed to spice up your breakfast.
Yeah, spice up your breakfast by having it passed out by lunch.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what's with all
20%.
this? Because who else did
A
you
lot.
say had the spiked drinks?
Oh, Duncan.
Dunkin'
Dunkin'.
Donuts, yeah.
Don't people work?
It's for the weekends, John.
Okay.
The
that's
company
true.
says that the adult only treat combines the taste of Eggo waffles and maple syrup along with their sip and cream that's alcohol. It comes packaged in a mason jar.
I like a mason jar.
So if you want like an Eggo espresso martini,
Yeah.
you can use this to make an Eggo espresso martini.
Okay.
It's like a flavor. It's like almost basically like a flavored. It's a flavored liqueur that you put in like a, I don't know,
I mean, it's
whatever.
small. I mean, it makes sense. It's a liqueur.
I mean, companies become so big now. It's like you got to have everything. Like, oh, you have a seltzer, not for Eggos, but like, give me something that's
It's a
like
seltzer.
alcohol rules everything. Let's put alcohol in something that's tasted up.
Yeah, it's true.
You get an Eggo waffle that tastes like an Eggo waffle syrup thing with some alcohol in it. Sure,
Right.
I'll try it.
No, that's
Whatever.
fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
All right. So that's your back page for today.
That's my back
That's
page for
kind of like
today.
the sneeze edition. Like I felt like we were owed a little more than that. What did we get to? We got Eggos, we got pumpkin spice, and what else do we got?
iPhone 17.
It's not going to move the end call button.
Yes.
Potentially.
What else you want, John?
I don't know. I feel like Brent should have like it's like kind of like Jim's joke of the day. Brent, in case Jim like underperforms with the back
Hey!
page.
Underperforms.
By the way, I buried the lead.
What's the lead?
Last night, I went to do dinner with my wife at her friend's house, Sarah.
8:52.
And I just
5:52.
type in the address and I park on the side of the street. I start walking, and then some dude rolls down his window at me and is like, "What the hell are you doing here?" It was Brent. I had literally parked feet in front of his place. So I went to do dinner with my wife and her friend. Afterwards, I went over to Brent. I texted him. I said, "Let me see your dog." And Peanut came out with Brent.
Yep.
And I mean, what are the odds of that? I was literally parked steps from Brent's place.
Yeah, I turned on my street and it was John. I was like, what the hell is he doing here?
I know. So
then
we're
I asked him.
yeah, and that's what I was doing. All right, we are back tomorrow, 3 to 6, right here on San Diego Sports 760. If you missed anything today, You can check it out, the iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, or YouTube. On YouTube, just search for John and Jim 760. Follow us on social media at John and Jim, JONANDJIM. We're back tomorrow at 3 from the Blandboro Friday downtown at 3 as well. For Brent and Jim, Sneezy Jim, I'm John, the weatherman. We'll see you tomorrow right here on the all-new San Diego Sports 760.
Okay.
It's going to rain Monday.
It's going to rain Monday.
Okay.
That's why I'm sneezing.